There's a scent that stops people mid-sentence. The kind that makes a stranger turn around in a grocery store aisle, or lean in a little longer during a hug just to catch it one more time. It's rarely the newest release. It's almost never what's trending online this week. It's something quieter, something that's been turning heads for years while everyone else keeps chasing whatever smells popular this month. Today, we're counting down 8 of those perfumes, the kind that make people remember you, not just notice you. Stay until the end, because the one at number 1 has been creating that kind of recognition for more than a century. Hi beautiful, welcome back to The Timeless Woman, the channel where we prove that looking put together after 60 doesn't take more effort, it just takes the right few pieces. And if you love discovering little ways to feel more polished without making life more complicated, subscribe to The Timeless Woman. We have plenty more coming. Now let's start with number 8. This one's for the woman who wants pretty without it turning saccharine. It's a soft floral fruity, grapefruit and quince up top, white musk underneath, nothing about it demanding attention. Where some perfumes are built to announce themselves the moment you walk into a room, this one waits. It sits close to the skin and only really unfolds once someone's already close enough to notice it, which changes the whole feeling of wearing it. Think of it as the fragrance version of a soft cashmere sweater. Nobody's going to stop you on the street because of it. But the people who get close enough, a friend leaning in for a hug, someone sitting next to you at dinner, they'll remember it without quite knowing why. Wear it running errands, having coffee with a friend, anywhere you want to smell clean and a little happy without anyone asking what you're wearing. Not every scent needs to start a conversation. Some of the most memorable ones are the quiet kind you only notice in hindsight, the way you notice a nice room only after you've left it. If your current signature scent feels like it's trying too hard for a Tuesday afternoon, this is worth testing. It's proof that soft doesn't have to mean forgettable. Number 7. Now for something the complete opposite of safe. This one's herbal, mossy, a little strange in the best way. It was built in the 1970s and never bothered softening itself to fit in with whatever else was popular. It smells almost like walking through an apothecary garden after rain. Green, sharp, a little medicinal, entirely unbothered by trends that came and went decades after it launched. Here's the thing about Aromatics Elixir that nobody tells you up front. Some women try it once and never wear it again. Some women try it once and never wear anything else for the rest of their lives. There's basically no in-between reaction to this fragrance, and honestly, that's exactly what makes it worth putting on this list. Most perfumes are built to be inoffensive to as many people as possible. This one was built to have an opinion. If you've spent decades being told, gently or not so gently, to smell pleasant and appropriate, this is the scent that quietly says you're allowed to smell like a whole personality instead. It's not for everyone. It was never trying to be. Test it on a day when you're not in a hurry, because it needs time on your skin before you'll know whether it's yours. First impressions with this one are almost always wrong. Number 6. For the woman who still believes in romance, unapologetically, at any age. It's built around rose and patchouli, arranged in a way that feels old-fashioned in the best possible sense, like a love letter rather than a text message. The floral notes are soft, but the patchouli underneath keeps it from ever tipping into syrupy, which is the trick most romantic perfumes get wrong. It reads elegant rather than young, which is exactly the line a floral fragrance needs to walk gracefully after 60. There's a particular kind of confidence in a woman who still wears a romantic perfume decades into her life, who hasn't decided that softness is only for younger women. Miss Dior rewards that confidence. It doesn't smell like it's trying to recapture anything. It smells like someone who never stopped believing certain things were worth dressing up for. And that's what makes this one interesting. It isn't simply a romantic perfume. It's a choice to keep that part of yourself visible. Wear it for anniversaries, dates, any evening you want to feel like the version of yourself who still gets a small thrill out of getting dressed up and going somewhere that matters. It's not an everyday fragrance, and it doesn't need to be. Some scents are for Tuesdays. This one is for the nights you remember afterward. Number 5. This is the fragrance for the woman who's stopped choosing between classic and current. She just wants both, and she's tired of being told she has to pick. Orange and jasmine up top, patchouli and a touch of spice underneath. It manages to feel unmistakably Chanel without feeling like your mother's bottle of Chanel sitting untouched on a dresser. There's an energy to it, a slight edge, that keeps it from ever reading as stuffy or overly formal, even though the bones of the fragrance are entirely classic. If you want one bottle that genuinely works everywhere, a client lunch, a dinner afterward, a weekend you didn't plan to dress up for but ended up doing anyway, this is usually the one that pulls it off. It's the fragrance equivalent of a well-cut blazer, formal enough for serious settings, relaxed enough that it never looks like you tried too hard to get there. Quick gut check while we're on this one. Does your everyday perfume actually match your everyday life? Or is it just the bottle you bought once, years ago, and never got around to replacing? That's worth sitting with for a second. A lot of women are wearing a scent chosen by a version of themselves who doesn't exist anymore, and sometimes that's the real reason a perfume stops feeling right. It belongs to a woman you were, not necessarily the woman you are now. Coco Mademoiselle earns its spot on this list precisely because it flexes with who you are now, not who you used to be. Number 4. For the woman who wants to be remembered, full stop, no subtlety required, no apology attached. This is a big, sweet, floral fragrance, jasmine and patchouli stacked with something almost like warm caramel underneath, built to fill a room, rather than wait quietly in the corner of it. It's not a shy perfume, and it was never designed to be one. Some fragrances are meant to be discovered slowly. This one is meant to arrive before you do. There's a place for that. Some nights genuinely call for quiet elegance, for the kind of scent that only reveals itself up close. But some nights call for the opposite, for walking into a party and having 3 people ask what you're wearing before you've even said hello. Both instincts are valid. The mistake is thinking you have to pick one fragrance personality and stick to it forever. Save Flowerbomb for the occasions where you actually want that kind of presence. A big celebration, a night out with people you haven't seen in years, anywhere you want the fragrance to match the size of the occasion. It's not an everyday scent, and treating it like one would waste exactly what makes it special. Number 3. We swing all the way back to restraint here, which is exactly the point. Citrus and cypress, bright and green, almost nothing else layered on top. This is the scent equivalent of a perfectly pressed white shirt. No flourishes, no elaborate backstory, just clean lines executed extremely well. And here's what makes that restraint interesting. It's easy to mistake quiet for forgettable. But Hadrien doesn't compete for attention. It simply does one thing: bright, clean citrus, better than almost anything else on the shelf, and that quiet confidence is what people end up remembering. There's a lesson in this one that applies to more than just perfume. The things that try hardest to be noticed are often the things people forget the fastest, because there's nothing underneath the noise to actually hold on to. Wear it in the morning, in warm weather, anywhere you want to smell like you just stepped out of a garden after watering it rather than out of a department store. It's an easy fragrance to underestimate on a first smell. Give it a full day before deciding it's too simple. Simple, done well, rarely is. Before we get to number 1, a quick rule that applies to every perfume on this list, no exceptions. Buy less than you think you need. 2 sprays, not 6. A perfume that lingers because it's genuinely well made is more memorable than one that lingers because you applied it with a heavy hand. The goal was never to fill the room. It was always to make someone lean in. Number 2. This is the one your mother or your aunt probably wore, sitting on a vanity tray next to a hairbrush and a string of pearls, and there's a very good reason it never actually left shelves. Rich, amber, spicy. It started as a bath oil in the 1950s and turned into one of the defining perfume phenomenons of the century almost by accident. It's warm in a way that feels like a held hand rather than a spotlight. It's not trying to smell modern, and it's not apologizing for that either. It knows exactly what it is, and it has known for over 70 years. There's something worth noticing here, beyond the fragrance itself. If a scent from decades ago still makes you feel completely like yourself the moment you put it on, that's not nostalgia getting in the way of good taste. That's just you knowing, with total certainty, what actually works on you. A lot of women spend years chasing whatever's newest, only to circle back eventually to the thing that was right in front of them the whole time. Wear it in cooler months, evenings, anywhere you want warmth rather than freshness. It ages beautifully into a room the way good wood does, richer with time, never thinner. Number 1. And here it is. The one that started the whole idea of a signature scent in the first place, over a century ago, and somehow still hasn't been unseated from the top of that idea. Rose and jasmine layered over aldehydes and a warm woody base, largely unchanged in its essentials since 1921. That alone should tell you something. Fragrance trends have shifted dozens of times over the past 100 years. Gourmands came and went, then fresh aquatics, then heavy orientals, then back again. And Degree 5 simply sat through all of it, untouched, because it was never chasing any of those trends to begin with. Every perfume on this list, in some quiet way, owes something to the fact that Degree 5 proved a fragrance could become part of someone's actual identity, rather than just something they happened to be wearing that day. Before Degree 5, perfume was largely decorative. After it, perfume became personal. It's not the loudest scent on this list. It's not the newest, not by a long shot. But it's the one that's still standing after everything else on this list. And frankly, everything else on every best perfume list ever written has come, made noise, and gone. That might be the entire definition of timeless. Not the thing that shouted the loudest when it arrived, but the thing that's still quietly there, decades later, exactly where it always was. If you only ever build one true signature scent in your life, one that people genuinely associate with you the second they catch it on someone else, this is still, after everything, the safest and most legendary place to start. So there you have it. 8 signature scents, and 8 completely different women they could belong to. Tell me one thing in the comments. Which one of these are you trying first? What perfume do people associate with you? Is there a fragrance you've worn for years that instantly feels like home? Or are you still searching for the one scent that feels completely yours? I'll see you in the next video.